I was putting sticks in the bed of the truck, and I was sweating so hard, like I was disarming some explosives. And so you may be 2 or 3 miles down the road, and your blinker's still on, like you're some senile old man. Maybe that is a problem. I don't know. It aggressively pushes you. It's not a gentle tug. It's like, you know. So for whatever reason, I hit the gas. Oh my God. I almost got my family killed the first day. So that would have been bad. So Rivian, I hope that's something you can work on. That'd be greatly appreciated, because I think it's dangerous. Hey, how you all doing today? Hope you're having a great day. Today I'm headed to the Air Force Base to pick up a few items. On the way there, I figured I'll talk about some things on this Rivian, or about the Rivian, that just annoy me or I just simply don't like. No, there's no such thing as a perfect vehicle. And of course, this is all subjective. You know, what may be an issue for me may not be an issue for you. For example, a lot of people are complaining about Apple CarPlay. I don't care about that. I had it in my last vehicle. I don't have an Apple phone. I do have an Android, and I did use it from time to time, but it's very rare. So like for me, for example, that won't be on my list because it's not that big of a deal. So just remember, this is subjective to me, and some of it may be specific to this vehicle, so remember that also. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. And this is not in any particular order, so I'm just gonna name these things off as they come to my mind. I did make a list, but we'll see if I can just recall this off the top of my head. And some of this may re-trigger my memory on my ride to the Air Force Base. So, one of the first things that annoy me about this vehicle is the lane centering, or the lane keep assist. If I want to call it the lane force assist, because it is very powerful. And I'll tell you what, this thing catches me off guard, and I go to white knuckles. It's very powerful. I don't know if anybody else has a Rivian, if you experience the same thing. If you go towards that white line, it pushes you hard back over, to the center. So, and it scares me. Every time it happens, it's very, I want to say violent. That's kind of a strong word, but it's very aggressive. It's probably a better description. It aggressively pushes you. It's not a gentle tug. It's like, and and a few times I, grab on the steering like, so that, hopefully that's something Rivian can fix. And, just depending on where you're located, it would depend on the level of aggressiveness. But that's number one. The lane keep assist is extremely aggressive. Okay, number 2 on my list is the reverse. Reverse is dangerous in my opinion. I don't know if anybody else experienced this, and it took some getting used to, because in reverse it's still in high gen, so it's kind of hard to get a feel for how hard to press this accelerator. This truck has a lot of power. And I know the first day I had it, when I finally drove it back from the factory and got back home and got my family in it, so we could take a little spin in it, and we went to a Walgreens, and I think I was supposed to have it in drive, and then accidentally put it in reverse. And that's something I had to get used to. So for whatever reason, I hit the gas. Oh my God. I almost got my family killed the first day. So that would have been bad. So, and I remember another time I was at work, and we have some really tight parking spaces, and someone parked their big Ford F-150 in a small space behind me, and I could not get this vehicle out. And I was so afraid to press on the pedal, because I was in fear that I would hit the truck, even with the cameras in the back, because I may know the distance, but I can't really judge how fast this vehicle is going to accelerate if I tap on the accelerator the wrong way. And of course, when you hit it, it slows down. It comes to instant stop, and I had to get out and look to see if I was going to hit this vehicle. It took me a while to get out of that parking space. It was a bit embarrassing, but I did not want to hit that truck that was behind me. And I still have not gotten used to that, and it's been almost 3 months of me owning this vehicle. Yeah, as far as this reverse, I wish they'll come up with an option to turn it off during reverse, or either just set it in the programming that once you put the vehicle in the reverse, that it automatically turns off regen, so you can back up safely. Even with a little roll, I used to have a Chevy Volt before this, and electric vehicle. It did have, I always drove it in high, which would be high regen, and nothing like this. So, and nothing like the regen on this vehicle. This took some getting used to, but reverse is no problem. It'll roll just like a normal car. With this, no. The regen is powerful, and I even set it to standard. I'll take it out of high and put it in standard, and still it is a bit of a challenge to reverse the vehicle for me. And the learning curve, in my opinion, shouldn't be that high. So Rivian, I hope that's something you can work on. That'd be greatly appreciated, because I think it's dangerous. Okay, the next thing that annoys me about the Rivian is the blinker. Actually, I kind of like it, but at the same time, I don't like it. I like the sound, and that's kind of the problem. And let me explain, is that a lot of times I forget to turn the blinker off. It's such a soothing sound that, especially if you have the radio on, or if you have the air conditioning running, you'll forget the sound. It kind of blends in with the rest of the sound in the environment. And so you may be 2 or 3 miles down the road, and your blinker's still on like you're some senile old man. Maybe that is a problem, I don't know. If I'd like to know if anyone else is having a problem. Maybe I'm senile, I don't know, maybe I'm getting senile. That's a possibility. But I didn't have this issue on my last vehicle, where the blinker was kind of annoying, where this is very soothing. It's relaxing, and it just blends in with the background noise. And also, sticking on with the blinker, another issue I have with it is when I'm changing lanes, it only gives me 3 blinks. But to me, that is not enough blinks to warn the people behind you, and then also execute your move to the next lane. And I know this is kind of petty, but I would like 4 blinks at least, till I hit that thing and it stays on for at least 4 to 5 blinks, so I can make sure I'm clear and move over to that next lane. Because a lot of time I hit it, and by the time I'm ready to make my move, the blinker is stopped. So I don't know if anyone else is experiencing that same thing, or if this is just something specific to this vehicle, but this is something that annoys me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it. But that is the next one, the blinker. Okay, the next thing that annoys me about this vehicle is the windshield wipers and the windshield wiper cleaners. It is a bit of annoying. Not just it doesn't do a good job of cleaning the windshield. I actually spend more time at the gas station now than I did with my last vehicle cleaning my windshield. I very rarely went to the gas station before, and my Chevy Volt was a gas electric hybrid, so I would have to go put some gas in it maybe 3 or 4 times a year, maybe. And at that point I might clean my windshield, but this windshield in this Rivian gets dirty and with bugs, and the windshield wipers do nothing to get it off. The windshield wiper fluid, especially if you're going at speed, it does nothing to wet the windshield up effectively, in my opinion. And so a lot of trips to the gas station to clean the windshield. And not only that, the the rain sensor, the automatic rain sensor, I don't think it's effective, especially when it's like drizzling outside, or if it's not raining too hard, it's just raining soft enough to where you need to have your windshield wipers on. It does not, in my opinion, do a good job of effectively coming on when it's sprinkling outside or not raining hard. I did have once it was raining hard, it worked really well, but if it's not raining hard outside, they won't even come on sometimes. So I have to go in and turn my windshield wipers on, which is kind of annoying. It's kind of hard to judge, and you have to go all the way up and down. And you'll see whenever you get a Rivian that it is not the easiest control to use. So, and there's probably not a lot they can do about that. That's more of a hard fix that will have to happen. But as far as the windshield wiper sensitivity, that is something that can be corrected with a software over-the-air software update. As far as the windshield and the bugs, that's probably just a function of the slope of the window. This is probably this windshield is more upright, and so it's probably why I get more bugs on the windshield, and that's probably why a lot of people are complaining about the windshield being easy to crack if it gets hit by a rock on the highway. And that probably has more to do with the angle of the windshield. Pulling up to this Air Force Base, I'm ready to shut this stuff down, and I'll be back later. So, yeah, I just left the Air Force Base, picked up a few items. One of them was this. Is that right side? Yeah, right here. I got a portable SSD at 1 terabyte for the drive cam, and I just hooked it up. I set it up before I left the Air Force Base and have it activated right now, I think. Let me see. Is this thing activated? Maybe it stopped. Maybe it deactivated itself. But yeah, I just went ahead and set this up so I can capture some drive footage. I'm going to see what that's like, and I'll share some of that with you all. But I'm just go ahead and pick back where I left off with the things that I don't like about this Rivian R1T. Another thing that kind of annoys me with the Rivian is the climate controls. The sound, they are very loud, and I'll see if I can give you a demonstration of that. You turn this thing on, and right now it's on the lowest it can get, and let me turn this thing up, see if you can hear that. And that's as high as it goes, but let me see if I can turn this down. And I think they did do some software updates to try to correct some of this. Maybe something dealing with the fan speed, but it is very loud. And you may not notice it where you're driving along, but once you turn it off, you'll notice just how loud the air conditioning unit is. But I will say it does work fine as far as the functionality. It's just that the sound it can be quite loud. Okay, next we're going to talk about the paint. Yes, the paint. The paint on this vehicle is not the most durable paint that I come across. Matter of fact, it's the softest, weakest paint. I think I actually scratched it with my fingers, just my hands, just rubbing something on the door, and it left scratches in the paint. I mean, not deep scratches, but enough that it requires some type of buffing to get it out. And that kind of surprised me. And also on the front of the vehicle, I noticed it had a chip already. I was like, man, because it's a big enough chip I would think that I would have to have heard what happened, like if there was some type of impact. But no, I was washing my car and I noticed that there was a big chip of paint missing, and I'll show you the chip of paint. So this vehicle has some very soft paint. I had lots of vehicles in my time, and I never have had a vehicle chip or scratch as easy as this vehicle. And it could be specific to this color of the vehicle, and this is the limestone vehicle. And whatever color you have, you may not have the same issue, but I think if you stare at this paint too hard, it might scratch. So just be careful. And so as a recommendation, I will be getting some PPF. At first I thought about just doing it on the front, but I think I may have to do PPF on this entire vehicle. And this is something that I never considered doing with any of the previous vehicles I've had. Just didn't need to do it, but I was putting sticks in the bed of the truck, and I was sweating so hard like I was disarming some explosives. I was just so afraid that I was going to scratch the paint, and I think I may have made a few small scratches. And even in the bed, it scratches pretty easy, especially along the tailgate. That material, that black material, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Scratches pretty easy. So though that is my next complaint, is that the paint is soft and the parts of the bed that should be durable are not that durable and not really functional, in my opinion, for real truck use, without some type of bed liner or some other layer of protection to protect those surfaces. And my next complaint is the app. The Rivian phone app is whackety whack. You would think for a tech company, which Rivian is a tech company, that they would have one of the top phone apps that there is, and this is just not the case. My previous vehicle, as I stated earlier, was a Chevy Volt, and it did have a phone app also. No, the phone was not a key for the vehicle. The car did have its own key, but the app gave me so much more information. I can look at the app and I can see my tire pressure. I can start my vehicle from any place in the world. It was cellular activated instead of, I think this is Bluetooth activated with a shorter range. I can see how many miles I've driven, my efficiency. There was just so many items in that vehicle that, so much information it had available to me that I simply don't have here in the Rivian, which you would think would, like I said, this is a tech company, this is a very advanced vehicle, that they would have an app with more functionality. It's just simply not the case. Now, since I've had the vehicle, they have been improving the functionality of the app. And so with all of these over-the-air updates that have been coming out, I have full faith that that over time that this will improve. And if you're watching this video like 6-7 months or a year from now, the things I'm talking about now may not exist anymore. And so just keep that in mind. But I think that's it. And yeah, those are all of the things that bother me. And let me know in the comments if you have some things that bother you, because it could trigger my memory also. But pretty much that is my list of things that really annoy me. Well, that's all I have for today, and I'd like to thank you for joining me again. And make sure you go ahead and leave some comments in the comment section. And I will see you on the next video.